$99. Let's spend $189. I don't think like sheets are in trouble any more so than any other industry when it comes to a recession. I guess that's the way to say it. Right? It's not going to be the first thing to be worried. It's going to go down with everybody else, but not in first, second, 10th place. It's going to go in the back.
Well, actually, I was actually wondering if it was less or was more recession resilient than other parts of the economy. And the reason why I say that is because, people, I just want to test this idea with you, which is you have, affluent people who are, one of the reasons why you may buy sheets is because you've moved into a new house. So you think about, okay, well, I want a new set of duvets or, a new set of sheets. So that's when you buy sheets. But in a recession, you may go, okay, well, I can't move house anymore. I don't want to move house anymore, but I still wanted to. So maybe I, do a refresh of my sheets. And that doesn't really change whether or not, like even in a recession scenario, that's a much cheaper, easier alternative to get a, refurbished new home feeling without actually spending all the dollars on getting a new apartment or whatever it may be. So how do you feel about that? Do you think that actually resonates, or do you think it's actually going to be, do people just put off buying sheets for another year, or instead of lasting 3 years, they buy a sheet every 4 years or whatever it may be?
Yeah, I guess maybe I don't necessarily agree with the premise that people move because they want something fresh. I think they move because they need more space. I mean, if you're talking about moving up, that is.
Yeah, sure.
They move from
they move up and down because they're moving house, or they're getting a family, or the kids have left and therefore they're downsizing or whatever it is. They move house, and then at that point in time they think about new sheets.
Correct. But I was saying I don't necessarily agree that people do things like to be fresh, like to keep it fresh. I don't think people move. So I guess what you're saying is, okay, so couples in a recession or families in a recession, they can't move, they can't afford to move up, but they want to somehow treat themselves, and would they treat themselves to sheets? I don't know that that's listed as the number one way to make yourself happier about not being able to afford to move. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I don't see that as a consumer behavior. Home improvement I think did do well during the recession, if I'm not mistaken. I think there was more home improvement, surprisingly. So there was some of that sense of let's make it better. So I guess yes about new sheets, but you'd have to. It would shock me that there was any sort of substantial movement in the bedding market during the recession. I could be crazy. I suspect that it's actually pretty steady year over year. I think there's definitely times during the year where it's better, you have better months than others, more active times of year to move and then buy new sheets. I definitely agree with that. But I don't think I just don't see it necessarily moving anything different substantially, separate and apart from the market. But again, I don't think it's like first on the chopping block during a recession. That's not like, if I had a bunch of stock, I wouldn't sell my bedding stock first during a recession. I don't know if I'm answering your question. I'm not trying to be wishy-washy. I almost feel like it's not that it's agnostic, like it just wouldn't be affected. I just don't think it would be especially affected one way or the other for that matter.
Yep, understood. That is helpful. Actually, that's what I was hoping to achieve. Actually, I was hoping that there was, there's offsetting factors. I wanted to make sure that existed. So we talked about advertising. We talked about quality, and you feel that there's no real difference between this player and other competitors. How do you feel about do you think it's all, is there really a difference in sheets at all, above, a certain level? Or, I'm talking about the high-end players. Did they have a real advantage here or not?
So you're talking to a guy, a tie bar was built, we sold our ties for $15 each. Our premise was that there's a difference between a $15 tie and a $100 tie, but the difference you'll never notice or even appreciate or care about. So if I were to put, $800